Hello and welcome to Bristol Sport TV. Well, as the country enters its 5th week of life in lockdown, we're bringing you interviews from across our sporting group to give you a bit of insight into how our players, our coaches and our staff are adjusting to life in lockdown as we all try and combat the spread of coronavirus. Well, today I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by Bristol Bears Director of Rugby, Pat Lamb. Pat, welcome to you. I hope you and all of the family are keeping well.
Yeah, no, we're good. Thanks, Lisa. You know, through all challenging times and adversity, there's always positives, and certainly the quality family time we're getting has been a real blessing. And things that you're doing, things that you probably, when you take a snapshot of life, you probably didn't plan on doing it, so you would have missed these chances. So it's been special despite the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, no one planned on it. Who would have thought that the last game here at Ashton Gate was that game against Quins?
Yeah, we were on a good roll, and but as we always say that, you know, play every game as if it is your last game, and literally, it's for some guys, unfortunately, because we don't know, you know, the guys who are coming off contract, the guys who plan on retiring at the end of the year. You know, it certainly could be the case. But it's, you know, once every the season, we complete the season, whenever that's going to be, we'll certainly recognise the efforts of everyone, players and staff.
I mean, you talk about, you know, adjusting to this life because, you know, coaches, they always have a plan. You know, you guys plan to the absolute final second every moment of a game. And gosh, when I think back to last pre-season in Cast, where all of these foundations were being laid, no one could have preempted this. So how do you adjust? Just talk us through what steps you guys have gone through behind the scenes to adjust to this unplanned event.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, once we beat Harlequins, we had a week off before the final run of games. So everyone had left on Tuesday. And then about Friday, I sort of, you know, we were getting wind that we could go into lockdown, and there's the potential that, we wouldn't be together again. So we were all coming in at 8:30 in the morning. So I postponed that meeting to 1 o'clock. And I asked all the heads of department I gave them different scenarios to come to a meeting at 8:30 on Monday morning in your area on scenarios where we're modified training as a group, where we're isolated, but we can still train in small groups, to isolation training on your own, and isolation, you can't actually leave your house. Thankfully, we haven't got to that situation. But it was an awesome meeting. We had 2 hour meeting with the key heads of department. And we came together with what we called initially it was down as coronavirus survival plan, but I changed it to the Bears coronavirus winning plan. And it was fantastic, and a real credit to all the staff, and emphasised the quality of the people we have. And then we brought everyone in and we rolled it all out, and we were in 1A, so we were able to get out and train. The next day, we got a win that probably got to go to 1B, where modified, where some guys couldn't be involved. But that flicked overnight to a 2A situation where we had to go home. And the real good thing is that we were well organised with equipment. We were well organised with the medical department. And guys have set up gyms. We had all the WhatsApp group. We had the social groups set up where players are broken into 8 different groups to not only connect with just your mates that you normally do, but ensured that no one was left not being connected with. So we thought of every single situation, and we're just rolling out the plan. And probably similar to New Zealand, probably because I was talking to my parents down there, where they're lockdown number 4, and they're looking at going back to 3. You know, we have 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, and 3. So we can flick between each, and every single person knows what happens on that. So, you know, at the moment, and then obviously the pay cuts, then the furlough, and then we had to readjust that plan again. But again, it's really easy when you got good people. We sit down, we nail out every possible worst case scenario, we plan for it, and then we just, like a game, activate it.
Well, you talk about staying connected. Of course, this time has thrown up so many different challenges, not just from keeping players motivated, but also staying in touch with them from a physical and mental health and well-being.
Yeah, I mean, it's really crucial for us. you know, when we talk about our culture, and you know, it's a word that's bandied around quite easily, and it's all different types of varieties. But you know, our culture is all based on our vision, which is around our community, inspiring our community, and looking after each other, and certainly it's around making sure it's supposed to be for in games when we're under massive pressure that you know, that's where the culture really kicks in. But because that's when you're under adversity, and when you face the challenges we face now, that's exactly when it really matters. You know that it's current. So when we look at what makes me extremely proud, when I look at everything we do, whether it's nutrition, whether it's rugby skills, SSC, it all goes out for our under 13s. Obviously toned down a little bit for them, but we look after 13s, all our junior academy, our senior academy. You know, the women's team, everyone gets a really good taste of it, and you know, and that's what ultimately it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, certainly on a lighter note, you've mentioned there the connection between the Bears men and Bears women's. You know, we've talked a lot about the coaching staff helping, you know, it going two ways. But actually, during the quarantine, there's been a bit of banter between the two, and not least a gymnastics face-off, if you like.
It was awesome, really, really awesome. I thought, you know, the girls did a tremendous job, you know, and you know, there was definitely some serious gymnasts, and then there was some that were, you know, is what you want. As long as you give it an effort, give it a go is probably best to describe it. But I think Jake Woolmore did a great job rounding up the response, and there was things that some of those guys did that I didn't realize they could do. But you know, the competitive nature. But you know, I think the ladies just won it, which was awesome. But I think the you know, take it all aside and just again highlight, you know, the closeness of our club, and it was great to see. Really special moment.
Something like this that is so fundamentally life-changing for the whole of the world. Do you think that, having spent some of the time that you've done, you know, outside of the sport, I know that you're constantly, you know, looking at other scenarios, you've done training with special forces and seeing how they actually cope with, you know, whilst winning games of rugby is life or death in terms of on the pitch, but actually in the bigger scheme of things, it helps you develop leaders in quite a different way. And actually, you've had a chance to put some of those skills in practice, and now some of those leaders are stepping up in quite unusual circumstances.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you know, the leadership is such an important part. We talk about leadership culture in the game, and all the skills that the guys are learning. As we said, we want to improve them as rugby players, but more importantly as people. And you know, and the skills that we actually talk about are actually life skills, things that they can experiences that they can have, skills that they have, which will hold them in good stead through, you know, any time. And you know, once we come through the coronavirus, it's not suddenly everything's going to be great. You know, the world, you know, life is all about ups and downs, and you know, lots of bends and challenges. And it's been able to apply the experiences that you had and the learnings and the growth as a person that's going to get you through the next one. And so, you know, I believe it will make us a stronger team when we come out of this, because all the individuals have opportunities to grow as people, grow as leaders, and collectively we'll be better as a team from this. And it's so there's, as I said at the beginning, there's always a lot of positives to come out of times of adversity and challenges.
Yeah, I know I was speaking to ex-Ledger, who are one of the sponsors here, and actually one of their sons is in the Bears Academy. And he said his son was blown away by the amount of information he's been receiving from the Bears coaching staff, feeling like they're almost first-team players in terms of the depth of contact, but also the stress on trying to make them better young men, was his words.
Yeah, and that's an important, in the way that we've reset. You know, we did a big restructure of our academy, and so, you know, Gary Townsend's done a wonderful job in the junior academies, leads that from our 13s up to our 16, 17-year-olds, and then there's that transition into Geffen Watts' world of our senior academy, and then obviously into the full-time professional job. And, you know, I think we really put a massive emphasis, because, again, it's connected to our vision. It's about, you know, it's not just the professionals, it's encapsulating our whole community, which has an influence. And I think for those boys in the junior academy as well, I know, everyone goes to different schools, and some schools are more prepared than others. So being able to stay connected, give these guys some purpose, some challenges, some things to continue to learn and grow has been massive. And to see the emails that have been coming through from mums and dads, just thanking Gary and the junior academy staff, just for staying in touch and staying connected. And anything we get from, players or staff videos we put together, we just send it to Gary and he forwards it on. So it's a real team effort across the board.
Well, finally, you talk about inspiring the community through rugby success. One of the things that I know many fans are finding inspiring is the development of the training ground. And of course, it's such an attraction as well for players. It really is a statement of intent, if you like, and should be ready at some point during the summer for hopefully when you guys can all resume training there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real game changer, world class, probably the best, rugby training facility around the world. It is real exciting. I saw the updates recently from Mark Tainton, sent me some photos, and I can't believe how much it's come along. They were obviously on track to finish in May, ready for us to get for the next season, and obviously be some delays, but with social distancing, they're still able to get a lot of work done. But I think the biggest thing that I love about the place is when you look back now and seeing the plans come off and out and to become reality, we went back and we spent a lot of time in that planning to make sure that sit with the architects to talk about our culture, talk about the way that we all connected and we're one team, and we restructured all the different offices and spaces to make sure it enhanced our culture. And then also for it to be a place of high performance and also a place that we can transition quickly to be really effective our time. So, no, it's getting closer and closer that we go back in there and, to take recruitment. When I took Kyle there and Semi Radradra there, mate, I think that played a big part in as well because it's all connected to our vision. And, we've got a lot to be thankful to Steve, obviously, for, and, for him to, allow us to build something like that has been awesome.
Yeah, hear to that. We can't wait till we get back. I mean, on that front, of course, you guys heavily in discussions. I mean, sport as a whole globally has come to a standstill. But obviously appreciate you guys are in heavy talks constantly with not just the governing bodies, but also government guidelines as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like everything. Everyone's got a plan. I know the PRL and RFU, they have a plan for every scenario. The first one was April. That obviously got scrapped up, and same with May. And but there's all sorts of scenarios of when we return. So we're working those at the moment. And Rory Murray, our head of medical, and Kev Gary, head of athletic performance, are right on top of the whole planning. And I suppose the biggest issue is making sure we minimise as much risk. With the players being away from the game so long, getting straight back into it. So, it's been really pleasing to see the sort of plan that those guys have put together to make sure that the players, and also the commitment from the players to stay in shape, to stay connected, to stay on top of their rugby knowledge, their rugby skills as well. And a lot of it, since we've been furloughed, is completely voluntary now, obviously. But it's going to hold us in good step, and the main purpose of it is that A, we minimise the risk of injury, but B, we continue on our winning ways for the Bears.
Well, yeah, you talk about it. I mean, I think finishing off in third, of course, you've got the quarterfinals as well against Dragons coming up, as was when we halted. I mean, in terms of the timescales, as we say, we've got to follow all the government advice and not just keeping the players and the staff safe, but of course our crowds and our fans as well. They're all desperate to come back. But, we could very, very realistically be playing a lot of games behind closed doors just to keep our supporters safe.
Yeah, that's, again, another one of the options that they have lined up. So I think we get highlighted all the different things. I think it's similar to what people have read. Every sort of option is on the table. It's our jobs to make sure that, we're prepared for every scenario and whichever way it goes. And I think that's the key for us. And, and again, emphasising the quality of the planning and the input that I'm getting from all the staff. And I did say this to the guys. I truly believe, that. And I know Steve mentioned to me and John Lansdale mentioned to me how proud they are of where we are as a club. And I wanted to thank all the staff and players, because over the last 3 seasons, they've really made it the club that it is today. And I don't think we survived if we hadn't have made all these changes and effort and commitment from everyone. The future would have been bleak. But, just talking with Steve, when it reminds me of my first chat with him, and I asked him what he wanted. And, a community that's inspired, by what we do was a big part of his vision. And it's great that we've made a massive headway to that, but the journey continues. And it's great that it's continuing and we're not even playing rugby, and that's a sign of a club in a good place.
Yeah, I can barely believe it. It was just last week that it was the anniversary 2 years ago, 2018, that the Bears brand, if you like, I won't call it a brand because it's more than that, but, the bear breathed into life. Yeah,
I mean, I go right back when it was all, obviously there's a little bit of controversy there. And but for me, I went straight to Steve. Why, Steve? Why the Bears? And when he talked to me about the spirit of the bear, when he talked to me about the bear, the qualities of the bear, and, that it will look after its community, and that when it needs to defend its ground, it will. But the biggest thing is that it will look after the people that's within that whole community, and that's all around the place. And I suppose that's what it aligns so much with my coaching philosophy, that it's not about just winning rugby. It's about, I know people mocked us about, the Care Bears and stuff like that, but that's actually what I want people to see in our players and in our staff, that we do care. We care about our community. And when it's time to be aggressive and have that winning instinct, well, it has that too. But more importantly, it will stand its ground and it will defend our community. And and at the time, it's just an idea. And again, like our vision, to sit back now and look at it and think how far we've come, that it's just part of our fabric, is who we are. It's what we're about. And it'll hold us in good stead, and it'll get us through this challenging time, and we'll come out of it an even stronger club, I believe.
Yeah, well, you talk about the community, of course. We can't not mention the Bears Community Rugby Foundation, because, of course, the work that they've adopted and done online through the special needs, through Spectrum Project, that Chris Tavender, I've seen his coaching sessions going out to schools that desperately need those sort of coaching modules as YouTube tutorials, if you like. But then also here at the stadium, the Bears Foundation being involved with this group-wide community support of delivering meals out to some of the most deprived areas and schools in Bristol.
Oh, I mean, you just sit here with a massive sense of pride. I mean, that's, when I talk about this encapsulates our whole community foundation, but it also, you're right, with Bristol Sport. And again, I remember in that conversation, with my first conversation with Steve, and he talked to me about Bristol Sport and what it stood for, and why he said it, that sport can have, and sometimes, you can take it for granted. Well, the basketball's going on, the football's going on, the rugby's going on, but this puts an even massive focus on the important things, what we are all about, looking after, our neighbours, looking after our families, looking after our community. And this is the stuff that, CAPES and the other foundations and TABs have been doing day in, day out, year after year. And which a lot of us from all the teams, or staff and players, are involved in and support. And it just highlights that, again, just like it does with all on the front line, and I consider that they're on the front line too, the wonderful work that we do, virus or no virus.
Well, you talk about moving forward in terms of when we can finally pick up. One of the things in which I've been staying sane during this time, and mental and physical health is so important, is going out for an evening run. And a few times now, as part of my evening run, I managed to spot a bear in the woods on my route, because I managed to normally deliberately divert past the woods where I can overlook the training ground. And every time I run past them, think, I cannot wait till you are all there.
Yeah, exactly. It's you know, it is good. Like even training, like I take my daughter, if we go for a little run, not too far, as a warm up, and then being able to do some exercise with my sons. My one from Bryson from Ireland's over, and then Steph and I have been a chance to walk in the evenings as well. It's you know, again, it's great not only to have that time, but just again to see, you know, the wonderful place we're blessed to live in, you know, in Bristol in the southwest. It's a beautiful place. But yeah, you're right. You know, it does remind you that not only it's a great place, but looking forward to getting back and getting to do what we're good at doing.
Yeah, well, here's to that and the next phase of the Bears here in the community. Pat, thanks very much for sparing the time to talk to us. Best wishes to you and the family. Stay safe, stay well.
Thanks, Lisa. Great to talk, and yeah, stay safe. God bless. Cheers, everyone.
Well, that's it from Bristol Sport TV for this week. As Pat said, we are living in exceptional times, and it has given all of us a moment to pause and reflect on some of the work and all the help and care that goes on in our society that sometimes we don't always stop to say thank you for. So here is a big thank you to everyone that does work in our community, and for them, stay home, stay safe, stay well.